Hey, this is John Ortberg, and I'm here with my pal Alan George. Usually, I record these things by myself, particularly when I'm outside. However, right now I'm in Portland, and the team is here with me at a conference. So Kevin Penry's standing over there taking pictures and laughing at me, and Tim Williams is behind the camera, chuckling. But I want to talk to you today about how to make a decision. We're going to get to that. You might think right now about some area in your life where there is a significant decision, doesn't have to be huge to be made. How do you enter into the right spirit of it? And I actually want to start with a story Tim was just talking about this morning. There was television, kind of a mini-series, I think, called The Band of Brothers. And one of the characters in it is named Blythe, and he's terribly afraid. This is during World War II. And he cannot bring himself to enter into the battle. So he will hide in a foxhole. He conjures up some kind of injury or illness or pretext that will excuse him from getting out of the battle. And then a very wise sergeant, I think, named Spears, comes and talks to him and realizes his problem of fear. And his response is really interesting. He says, no, your problem is that you haven't died yet. You think you're still alive, but when you put on that uniform, you died. And as long as you think that you can save your life, you will be a captive of fear. But there'll be a strange dynamic if you die. If you accept the fact that you cannot save your life by your own efforts, you will be free. And you will be able to pursue life and choose what is good and do what is best, but you must die first. Isn't that an incredible story? It's just so powerful as a picture of spiritual life, that our problem comes when I think, I gotta hold on to my reputation, I gotta hold on to this job, I gotta hold on to this possession, I gotta hold on to my health, I gotta make sure my kids do what I want, I gotta, and to say, okay, God, I just die to myself. Dallas Willard used to say sometimes that we often think that Jesus was crucified so that we didn't have to be crucified, but really, he was crucified so that we could. I have been crucified with Christ. You see a guy carrying a cross beam to the place of crucifixion, he's not thinking about his 401k or his vacation. And Alan, you were talking about for you coming to faith had that kind of impact. Say a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think for me, prior to coming to faith, I think I was trying to do everything I could in my own strength and my own power, and I was trying to find reason and hope and purpose and all of that outside of God. And it was only at that lowest point where I think it was a moment of just absolute surrender, of like, I can't do this. I can't. And when that hit for me, then it was like, okay, God, I'm here. And when I felt the love of God in my heart, I think that was a moment where it was like, I didn't deserve this. I haven't done anything to earn it. In fact, I did everything to deserve the opposite, but yet you're giving me this unconditional love and grace, and just my only response is, I'll do anything for you. It was this, nothing else matters, you matter. And so I think that, I think even thinking back to that moment now of, it was this feeling of us holding on to life instead of realizing life comes through death.
Yes. And so we resist, like a little kid that doesn't want to go to sleep. Don't want to do it, and then all of a sudden there's rest. And there's freedom. So now here's the key. As you think about your life and decision making, that moment, that willingness to die, surrender, I consider myself a dead man, is something to do not just when you come to faith, but a posture to walk through life with. I have already died, I've already been crucified, and therefore I'm free. Particularly when we have decisions to make, that's what enables me to choose what is good, what is right, what is best, rather than what gets attached to me and what I think I gotta have. Now, we're made to count, we're learning about that together, Deep Drive for Significance, taking a master class from Ignatius. And he actually was brilliant at helping people figure out how to make a decision. So this is from this book, Heroic Leadership. that people who would study under Ignatius, learn how to follow Jesus together with him, would cultivate what he called indifference. Now, indifference is a weird word. You might think of it as apathy or not caring. He didn't mean that at all. What he actually meant was freedom. Like back when I would play tennis, if somebody was serving, I got to be ready to go to the backhand or the forehand. And so I can't guess. So you give a little hop so you're almost weightless so that you're able to go whatever direction is best. It's kind of that way. That's what he meant by indifference, is really freedom from attached desire in order to be able to choose what is good.
That's good.
And he would actually give people 3 different scenarios where people would imagine having acquired the fabulous sum of 10,000 ducats, however much a ducat was worth, and then consider their varying reactions. And what would happen is people would often think, well, there's more to life than money, but money's pretty nice to have. And suddenly it feels impossible to imagine doing without it. And the first 2 types do little or nothing to get rid of the wealth because it has such a deep attachment on them. The third type does something different, and people would think, well, he must give it away immediately. Nope. What he does is to say, I will be wide open to keeping it if that can do good, or releasing it if that can do good. I neither seek to enrich myself nor impoverish myself, but I seek the greater good. And you were talking about a work role that you played, a decision you had to make with work.
What's interesting is, like, so for a decade I was doing one particular thing, and throughout that time, in my mind, I'm telling myself, this is not, my worth is not wrapped up in what I do. God, this is completely yours. I will leave whenever you want me to leave. But 10 years later, when I felt like he was telling me, hey, I think I want you to take a step, I was like, whoa, God, hold on. Do you realize how much work I put into this? And even though I was intentionally not holding my worth to it, and I thought I was being open-handed, somehow
when it came time for action,
it was hard. And even, I mean, 2 years later, I'm still, there's parts of it that I'm still like, am I holding on to it? Am I not? Yes, I took the step, but it was harder, way harder than I thought it would be. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know whether that's the right way to feel, but it is hard. It was harder than I thought it would be. Yeah.
And that's why this idea of attachment is so important for spiritual life. I read once, the word attachment comes from a French word, attaché, that means to be nailed to something. And that's why we have to be nailed to the cross, because we're going to be nailed to something. And if I get nailed to my reputation, to my work, to my money, to my health, I will never be free. So the invitation for today is, think about a decision. It doesn't have to be a huge one. How are you going to spend some time? How are you going to spend some money? What you're going to do in a particular relationship? And cultivate that sense of indifference, not apathy, not a lack of caring or urgency, but freedom of spirit. And we can't make ourselves get there. Often we don't know until the point of contact. But we can begin to cultivate right now. God, would you enable me to be indifferent about my wealth, to be indifferent about my health, so that I can seek what I know is best. Find an area of decision today. Take that little hop. Die to yourself. Get free. Make today count.
Thanks for joining us here at BecomeNew.me. If you'd like to receive the daily emails that go along with each video, let us know at BecomeNew.me@gmail.com. Or if you want prayer, you can text us at 855-888-0444.